They let me move into their basement, temporarily. Months passed. One day, I found my photos torn and burned in the fireplace. When I asked, my daughter-in-law said, "You weren't using them." That night, she heard something upstairs that made her freeze. I'm not even sure where to start. Maybe with the sound the fireplace made when I opened the flue and smelled smoke that didn't belong to any wood I ever bought. Or maybe I should go further back. Before I gave my son and his wife $20,000 to help buy their new house. Before I moved into their basement like some stray they didn't want to admit they let in. I'm 72. My name's Marion. I was married to a man named Carl for 46 years. We weren't rich, but we worked hard. He was a carpenter. I did part-time office work and raised Greg, my only child. We had a decent home outside Maple Grove. Nothing fancy, but it was ours. We built the life. Then Parkinson's came in and took Carl piece by piece. He was gone in less than 3 years. I sold the house after he died. Thought I'd have a little something to retire on. Then the bills started showing up. Medical liens. Debt collectors. I didn't even know half the stuff Carl signed. I was too busy feeding him soup and helping him piss in a bottle to read every insurance letter that came in. By the time the house sold and the lawyers got done with it, I had barely enough left for a few months' rent. I was tired. I was grieving. I needed help. That's when Greg offered. Or maybe allowed is more accurate. Just until you find something, he said. We got the new house and there's space in the basement. I moved in with 2 duffel bags, a box of photos, and 1 small bin of keepsakes. Alyssa, Greg's wife, smiled wide the day I arrived. Of course, stay as long as you need, she said. We're family. They set me up downstairs with an air mattress. No windows.
Cold cement.
No privacy. But I was grateful. At first. I tried to stay out of the way. I watched their daughter Mia when they needed. I cleaned the kitchen. I never asked for anything. But time passed. A month. Then 2. Then 5. The smiles started to vanish. Alyssa would sigh loudly when I came upstairs. Once I overheard her say to Greg, "She's still here?" I thought she was looking for senior apartments. Greg barely spoke to me unless he wanted something. I'd ask if they needed help with groceries and he'd mumble, "We're good," without looking up from his phone. Then came the little things. A pair of slippers I brought from the old house went missing. My ceramic mug I'd had since 1984 gone. When I asked Alyssa, she said, "Oh, I thought those chipped." I tossed it. Like it meant nothing. I opened my storage bin under the basement stairs one day and saw it was half empty. My old books gone. A framed photo of Carl and me from our 25th anniversary missing. Then one night, I came up for water and heard Alyssa on the phone. She didn't know I was behind the door. She just sits down there. I swear, it's creepy. She doesn't even notice when we throw her crap out. I don't know how Greg deals. I didn't sleep that night. Just laid there on that half-deflated mattress staring at the ceiling pipes. A week later, I noticed the smell, like burning plastic and something else. I went upstairs, and the fireplace was still warm. I opened the flue, and ashes dropped onto the grate. I saw something shiny in the pile. I pulled it out. It was a scorched photo corner. My handwriting on the back. Summer Lake 79. I stood there holding it, heart pounding. My throat tightened like I'd swallowed glass. I waited until Greg got home. He was in the garage. I walked out, held the burned piece in my hand. "Did you burn my photos?" I asked. He didn't even look shocked. He just blinked and said, "What?"
No.
Then Alyssa stepped around the corner, holding her wine glass. "We tossed some stuff from the bin. You weren't using it." That's what she said. Like I'd left old mail lying around. Like the memories of my life were clutter. Like I didn't matter. I walked back downstairs and closed the door behind me. My ears rang from the silence. And that night I changed. I didn't cry. I didn't shout. I started taking notes. I watched Alyssa more closely. I noticed her Amazon packages. She told Greg she was returning them, but I saw her stashing boxes in the garage. I saw a man's name, Jared, pop up on her phone when it buzzed one day.
She didn't see me watching.
I took photos of the texts, screenshots from their shared laptop, bookmarks to hotel reservation sites, Uber receipts from places Greg had never mentioned. I started gathering everything.
Quietly. Carefully. No confrontación.
Just patience. Then one night, after Greg went to bed and Alyssa sat alone watching her murder shows with her wine, she heard something. The front door opened.
Closed.
And then nothing. No wind.
No footsteps.
Just silence and the sound of her own breath. The hallway light flickered. Her phone buzzed once.
She opened it.
An email.
No Zendaname.
Just a subject line. What's Jared think about your mother-in-law problem? Alyssa didn't come downstairs the next day. She didn't say a word to me when I passed her in the hallway either. Just this stiff half-nod like I wasn't even real. Greg looked stressed. He left for work without breakfast, slamming the door harder than usual. I knew she hadn't told him anything yet. She was trying to figure out if I knew something or everything. Truth was, I had only scratched the surface. After I sent that first email, I went deeper. Every day when they were at work or out running errands, I went through their house like a ghost. Quiet. Careful. I found a second phone Alyssa kept in a drawer under the bathroom towels. I copied the numbers and took photos of every message she'd sent to Jared. They weren't just flirty texts. She was making plans. Talking about when Greg leaves me and how I wish this old woman would finally move out. She wasn't just annoyed I was there. She wanted me gone. Permanently. She was laying the groundwork to isolate Greg. She wanted full control of the house. Their finances. Everything. And Greg, he was too tired, too checked out to see any of it. I started feeding her paranoia. She'd find the front door open when she swore she locked it. A single photo of her and Greg would fall off the wall with no explanation. Her laptop mouse would be moved. Little things. Not enough to prove anything. But just enough to keep her off balance. She started snapping at Mia, yelling when the little girl spilled juice or asked for screen time. Greg took notice. You need to relax, he told her one night. I could hear the fight through the vents. She's my mother. She's not a threat. I heard Alyssa slam something. She's in our basement, Greg. She listens through the walls. Funny. I hadn't even started doing that until after she said it. I got bold. I slipped a printed message under their bedroom door late one night while they were asleep. Just a single line. He doesn't know what you did last April. The next day, Greg took a sick day from work. He barely spoke to Alyssa. Just sat on the deck smoking and looking like he hadn't slept. That afternoon, I overheard him on the phone in the garage. Do you think she'd cheat on me? He asked someone, I assume an old friend. By now, Alyssa was unraveling. She started locking the upstairs door that led to the basement. She claimed it was for safety, in case Mia wandered down at night. But I knew the real reason.
She was scared of me.
But that lock? It was a joke. This house had been partially renovated. The door was a cheap interior panel. All I had to do was slide a piece of plastic into the latch, and I was back upstairs. I waited until one night when Greg was gone. Off at some work event, Alyssa said. Mia was with her grandparents. It was just her in the house. I waited until the lights were off. Then I opened that door and walked up.
Slow.
Quiet. She was in the kitchen,
Pouring wine.
watching her phone. I stepped just far enough for the floorboard to creak. She turned. I didn't say a word.
Just stood there.
The look on her face, white as snow. What are you doing? She asked, voice trembling. I stared at her.
Calm.
Greg deserves better, I said. Mia does too. Then I walked back downstairs and shut the door. She didn't sleep that night. I know because the bathroom light stayed on until morning. 2 days after I confronted her in the kitchen, Alyssa was gone when I came upstairs. Vanished. Greg was pacing the driveway. I saw him from the basement window near the stairwell. Only view I had of the outside. He looked panicked. He left 2 voicemails while I made myself tea upstairs. Alyssa, please call me back, he said. I don't know what's going on. Just come home. Then he called her sister. Her boss. No one had seen her. I sat quietly at the table while he made those calls, never saying a word, just listening, because I knew where she was. Earlier that morning, a letter had arrived. Plain envelope, no return address, just my son's name in block letters. I found it in the mailbox before Greg came outside. Inside the envelope was a USB stick and a typed letter, unsigned. It said, "Greg, you should know the truth before she takes everything. April 14th, hotel in Bloomington." She was pregnant. Jared wasn't the first. Check the camera in the upstairs nursery closet. I didn't know who sent it. It wasn't me. I never wrote that. And I never touched any nursery camera. But curiosity eats people alive. I didn't mention it to Greg. I waited. That night, he went upstairs and stayed in the nursery for over an hour. He came down holding the USB. "Did you put this in the mailbox?" he asked me, standing at the bottom of the basement steps. I looked him in the eye and said, "No. But you might want to watch it." He left without saying another word. The next morning, Greg told me Alyssa had taken Mia to her mother's house for a while. His face was pale, drawn. He looked 10 years older. I didn't ask what he saw on the USB. I already had a pretty good idea. Over the next week, he barely ate. I heard him crying once in the garage. Then the lawyer started calling. Turns out, Alyssa had already spoken to a divorce attorney. She was preparing to file for full custody and list Greg as emotionally unstable. She even had a draft affidavit claiming I had mental health problems and posed a danger to Mia. The papers were still open on their family laptop when I checked. And just like that, my son finally saw it. The real her. But here's the twist that got me. Alyssa didn't leave because of me. She left because someone else beat me to the punch. Turns out Jared, her little side project, wasn't just some fling. He was her ex from college. And he had his own axe to grind. She'd borrowed money from him, promised him a life together once she got rid of the baggage. He thought that meant Greg. But when she ghosted him too, he cracked. I found out through an old friend of Alyssa's who worked at the same salon she went to. Jared had tried to file harassment charges after Alyssa blocked him. She retaliated by threatening him with revenge porn claims if he ever contacted her again. He'd mailed Greg the USB out of spite, hoping to ruin her the same way she tried to ruin him. So now Alyssa had two people turning her world upside down. And I wasn't done yet. Alyssa came back 3 weeks later. I was sitting at the kitchen table with Mia, helping her color a book about birds. Greg had gone upstairs for a call with his lawyer. The air in the house felt thinner without her. The front door opened, and there she was. Hair tied up, sunglasses on, a suitcase behind her, and a forced smile that didn't reach her eyes. "I need to talk to Greg," she said. I stood up.
Come.
"He's not here," I lied. "You can leave a message." "I live here," she snapped. "You don't tell me what to do." That part was technically true. The house was still in both their names. But Alyssa didn't know what Greg and I had done in the days she was gone. He'd gone through everything. Phone records, emails, bank statements. The USB had confirmed the affair, but the credit card charges and hidden savings transfers showed the real betrayal. She'd been moving money slowly into a separate account under her maiden name. Greg filed first, and he asked for full custody. The lawyer had warned it would be tough, even with proof, but Greg was ready to fight. And now he had character witnesses, me, their neighbors, and even Alyssa's old coworker who said she'd talked openly about leaving him and getting the house. The same coworker who was tired of Alyssa talking trash about her stupid old mother-in-law who doesn't even pay rent. But I paid. With money and time. With silence. With patience. Greg stayed strong. And when the judge saw the messages from Jared, the money trail, and Alyssa's legal threats, everything shifted. She lost primary custody. She got supervised visitation every other weekend. And she was ordered to pay back a portion of the down payment on the house because I had the original bank withdrawal slips, dates, and even a text from Greg thanking me for the gift. It wasn't legally binding, but it was enough to scare her lawyer into a settlement. She had to hand over her share of equity in the house to Greg in exchange for avoiding a drawn-out court case. She left court shaking. But my revenge wasn't done. Because I didn't want her to just lose the house. I wanted her to understand what it feels like to have your past ripped out of your hands and burned. So one day, when Greg took Mia to a birthday party, I visited Alyssa's new apartment. She had moved into a small place on the other side of town. I knew the building, one of those no-frills walk-ups near the highway. I mailed her a package. Inside were the half-burned photos she had left in the fireplace, pressed between two panes of glass I had framed. I included a note. You weren't using them. I never got a response. But 2 days later, she deactivated her Instagram. 3 weeks after that, she lost her job, too many missed days, poor performance. Greg never said a word about it, but I heard him tell Mia, Mommy needs some time to figure things out. He got full custody 6 months later. As for me, I stayed in the basement another month until Greg had a new bedroom built for me upstairs. A real bed. A door with a lock. A window that faced the garden. Sometimes I sit in that room and look out at the yard where Mia plays. I drink my tea from a new mug and keep the old one on a shelf. Greg and I don't talk much about what happened, but he knows. And I know.
And Alyssa?
She hears footsteps in her own hallway now. Every creak in the floor, every unopened letter, she wonders who sent it. She learned what it feels like to live in a space that isn't truly hers. Just like she made me feel. Now she lives with the echo of what she did. That's my kind of justice.